Another week in the National Football League, which means another week where Green Bay Packer fans are ready to put their dome piece through the nearest brick wall they come across, if they didn't already have a heart attack from watching this team perform. Another week where the Green Bay Packers found a way to embarrass themselves even worse than the week previous. And I don't even know how that's possible. But the Packers from Green Bay found a way this week against the Carolina Panthers. Now you're thinking, BC, it's the Panthers, the 2-12 Panthers. There's no way the Packers could lose, right? Not so fast. First of all, we did win. 33-30. And it came down to the final seconds, and only because Carolina's quarterback did not get the spike off in time. But if they had one more play, this game was going to OT, and there's no way on the planet we were winning this game. 33-30 against the Panthers. We were stunned that it was even 30-16 at one point. BC 14-point lead, 2 touchdowns. It's the Panthers! The fact that they're 2 possessions away in the fourth quarter is not good. And then you blink. You just blink. You just blinked. And it's tied at 30? It's tied at 30. It's the Panthers from Carolina. That is the most points scored by the Panthers this year. The most points, 30. They've come nowhere near that. In fact, check this stat out. The past 9 games, if you combine all of the points that the Panthers got, 9 games, they have 115 points. So if you divide that by 9, top of my dome piece, some Steiner math, that's about 12 to 13 points a game. So basically, the bulk of this season, they're averaging 12 or 13 points. 30 against the Packers! 30! They're averaging 12 to 13. Even if you double that, you're only at 25, 24, 25, 26, 20 some odd. Let's give it 13 points a game. 26 points. If you were to double it. If they got that spike off, it was 33 points in regulation. They're on their way to tripling their average. Only one defense, I can tell you, would give that amount of yards and points up. The Packers from Green Bay. The last 3 weeks, we've been diced up by Tom DeVito, Baker Mayfield, and Bryce Young. I'm still trying to figure out what a Bryce Young is. What is a Bryce Young? Bryce Young. What is a Bryce Young? I'm still trying to find out what a Tom DeVito is. Baker Mayfield is getting 300 plus yards on us? Bryce Young. Bryce Young. We gave up nearly 400 more yards today. 400 more yards. 4 complete football fields. Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield, Tom DeVito. You acting like this is freaking Tom Brady out there with Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw. I understand if we're playing Aaron Rodgers or if Brett Favre came out of retirement at the age of 77. I can understand it. An 85-year-old Brett Favre. I got it. But Tom DeVito, Baker Mayfield, a Bryce Young. What's next? Parade out Fred Flintstone, Jennifer Aniston, Macaulay Culkin. They'll probably dice us up. Nearly 400 yards. 19 seconds were left in this game. 19 seconds. It was 33-30 Green Bay. 19 seconds in this game, and it took Carolina. This is a true story. This is a real thing that happened at the end of this game. We're up by 3. There's only 19 seconds to go. All our defense has to do is just, for 19 seconds, just do your job. For 19 seconds, just make yourself useful. And it just took 2 plays for Carolina to get half the football field in chunks of yardage. 2 plays, half a football year. I can fucking speak. I can speak. 2 plays, half a football field. And they're in field goal range. But Bryce Young just couldn't get the spike off in time. He couldn't get the spike off. If that spike was spiked, field goal. 33-30, we go to overtime. The Panthers. Now, you understand, this is worse than just growing pains, right? You understand this is worse than, they're the youngest team in the league. Oh, Jordan Love, it's his first rookie full starter season. Oh, the defense will gel. They just need time. This is worse. The fundamentals have been broken down, right? You understand that. Anybody that's played Pee-wee football will tell you that this team is not functioning with fundamentals. That's out the window. That starts with coaching, and I'll get to that in a second. But you do understand that's why this is worse than just a young team, right? Next year, they'll be better. This is worse than that. The fundamentals have imploded. The coaching staff looks to have lost their team. And again, I'll get to that in a second. A football field, half a football field in 2 plays. They just couldn't get the spike off in time. We are giving these teams everything. It doesn't matter if it's the Giants. It doesn't matter if it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It doesn't matter if it's the 2-12 Carolina Panthers. We're giving these teams anything and everything they want for free. Chunks of yardage, field goals, touchdowns. It's not Olive Garden, but you might as well give them free breadsticks and salad too. Give them everything. Because they're just going to take it anyway. (33-20), the Packers defeat the Panthers. It took all 4 quarters, every minute, every second. It literally took every second. It took one final botch by Carolina. They just needed 1 second to spike that, and they would have beat us. Field goal, overtime. This team has shown us they can't do anything in overtime. Oh, I'm talking about overtime. Overtime! I'm talking about overtime! We can't even do anything right in regulation. 4 quarters of football, and we're the laughing stock of the league. Now we're talking about adding a 5th quarter? We can't get it right in 4 quarters, but maybe in quarter 5. This isn't going to take long at all. This isn't even going to be a full throttle review. This team, I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. This team doesn't even deserve a full review, and they ain't going to get it. There's nothing to review here other than our defense imploding from play 1 to the final play. Our defense did everything imaginable to lose this game. And again, it was a botch by Panthers. In the last second, they did not get the spike off. Otherwise, the defense was like, dude, we're giving you this game. The defense is telling you they don't want anything to do with Joe Barry. He has lost the team, our defensive coordinator. They're telling you this by the way they're playing. Because I refuse to believe that a team can play this bad, this many weeks in a row with the talent that they have. Because it's talent. So this isn't going to be long at all. The Packers, the 6-8 Packers taking on the 2-12 Panthers, and the Packers win 33-30 in the final second, literally, to become 7-8. And the Panthers are now, 2-13. And the Vikings lost 2 minutes later to the Lions. The Lions did everything imaginable to give that game up till the very end. But Christmas came a little bit early, 24 hours early, and the Vikings lost. This puts us both equally at about 7-8, I believe. I think that's where the Vikings are, too. More importantly, it puts the destiny back in our hands. Next Sunday Night Football, you're going to have the Packers versus the Vikings. I think that's in Minnesota, but at least it gives us a chance to just carve our own path, and I don't know if that's a good thing. But it's something, man. It gives you a chance, right? A chance if Christmas miracles were to happen, right? In your New Year's wish list kicks in. Maybe we beat the Vikings, and that would actually somehow, I don't even know how I'm saying this, and I shouldn't be with the way we're playing right now, but it would actually put us into the playoff picture, not just like on the tail end of the bubble. I'm talking about back in the thick of it with just a week left at that point. If a couple 2-3 things happen and the Packers somehow win a couple games, but again, playoffs. We're talking playoffs. We're trying to win regular season. We're trying to get first downs. We're trying to have our defense play defense. What a concept. But the Vikings did lose, so that's why you're going to hear conversation. And the Packers, I had a buddy that always said, it doesn't matter how you win or what stage of the game you win. If you have more points than your opponent, you win. That's all that matters. I always used to say, you know what, you're right. But, it's days like this where it's like, no, that's not all that matters. How we played today, we gave them this game. Their botch at the end saved us. But we gave them this game. We lost this game. For anybody that saw this game, we lost it. We gave it to them. There was a couple of times where we're like, all right, now we're beating the Panthers. This is what should be happening. And then there was those moments where you blinked and you're like, what is happening? It's like the Twilight Zone. It's like an out of body, out of this world experience where the Panthers are about to beat you. And we joked about it all week, right? Like, all right, we know in the back of our dome piece, we know that it's the Packers. They're gonna beat the Panthers. Obviously, they're 2-12. We say the Packers are one of the worst teams, but the Panthers literally are record-wise and just performance. So you're saying, all right, we're gonna beat them. But as a Packer fan, in the way that we've been playing, the joke was, can we really say that? Maybe we shouldn't count those chickens before they hatch. Don't put all the eggs into the basket. Don't put all the chips on the table yet because it's the Packers. They might find a way to lose to the Panthers. But that was supposed to be a joke. It's just a joke, man. No, they literally almost did. I think I'm blowing out another mic too, by the way, with all the yelling that we're doing. It's Christmas. Thank goodness we have a lot of holiday/Christmas gatherings over the next 24 hours, actually in a couple hours. BC, like a lot of you guys, will hopefully be forgetting about this game at least for a day or two, because this is one of those games you want to forget about. This is one of those games where you take this W and you keep running. Don't bother looking back. Don't bother passing go. Don't bother collecting your $200. You just robbed the bank. So keep going and don't bother coming back until you're better. That's the best advice that anybody repping the G can tell this team. Because if this is the way you now play, if this is the new normal, why bother taking the field? You're no longer just embarrassing yourselves. You're embarrassing everybody that sports these G's. Anybody and everybody in the Packer organization, and certainly every fan that reps these G's. This is an embarrassment. I am pretty sure a high school team would not drop 30 points to the Panthers. Tom DeVito, Baker Mayfield, and Bryce Young. Who, and who? The Packers go up 2 spots. They were in the number 11th position for the playoff picture, literally on the tail end of the bubble. And with this W and the Vikings loss, we go up from 11 to 9. And the Vikings fell from 6 to 8. So the Vikings are 1 spot ahead of us. Of course, only 7 teams in each conference can make the playoffs. So you have to be one of those 7 teams, obviously. We are 2 positions out of that 7 spot. The Vikings, we can handle that ourselves. Next Sunday night, we beat the Vikings. We would then go to 8-8. And the Vikings would drop to 7-9. That would at least propel us to the 8th spot. And these damn Seahawks, late in the last couple of, I think they won again this week. In the final couple of minutes, they went up anyway. I'm going to assume that they won because they actually went up a position from 8 to 7. So these damn pesky Seahawks, if we could have just gotten rid of them, if they will just lose a couple of games, maybe it would be a different scenario. Again, this is what fans do, right? We think of any scenario that would put our team in the best possible position. There's only one problem when you're backing a team like the Packers this year. The Packers themselves are not putting themselves in the best possible position. So the fans, we can only do so much. If they're going to go out and play like they did this week, last week, the week before, if this is the new normal, then this is all just role-playing, cosplaying, fantasy football at its core. Because that's all we're doing, fantasy football, right? Because it's a fantasy at this point that the Packers are going to win games. Again, 33-30, we won in the final second against the Panthers. If this ain't the Panthers, this could have been an 80 or 90 point blowout. 92 to about 12 in favor of whoever else in the league. That's what I got for you, man. Listen, I'm not, like I said, I'm not reviewing this whole thing quarter by quarter. It's not even worth it. It would just be a pathetic review because the game was that pathetic. So all I will say is Joe Barry. The Packers backed themselves into this corner, right? The Packers did this to themselves by having to now fire Joe Barry Christmas week. They could have done this last week, right? When it was evident that Joe Barry needs to be fired. Not only is he doing a horrible job, but he lost the team. The defense no longer respects him. That's obvious. We have talent. There's no reason we should be playing like this. Joe Barry lost the team. So Joe Barry has to be fired. There's one problem. The Packers never did it. They probably thought, the holidays are coming up. It's Christmas. It can't get that much worse, right? It's the Panthers. So the Packers were thinking we'll beat the Panthers, obviously, probably, hopefully anyway, by a landslide. And then everybody will go, maybe everything is right in Packer land, right? Joe Barry's fine. It was just a few weeks, a hiccup. No, what happened was we almost just lost to the Carolina Panthers. Literally, they gave up 400 yards, and it was about to be more than 30 points. So Joe Barry needed to be fired beforehand, and he wasn't. Now he has to be fired. That's pretty obvious. And you're going to have to do this on Christmas Day, basically, unless they do it now. Or do they possibly hold out until after Christmas? And now we're stuck with Joe Barry's defense going into Minnesota with the season on the line. Coach LaFleur has to do the job he was hired to do. There is no way we can show up to Minnesota next week with a Joe Barry defense. This is not Pee Wee football. This is not the local Costco, and you're worried about firing somebody. This is the National Football League. It's a prideful organization like the Green Bay Packers. Do the deed. You cannot keep going on like this. I don't care if it's Joe Barry's birthday, if it's on Christmas Day. I don't care if Joe Barry likes chicken nuggets and it happens to be National Chicken Nugget Day. Joe Barry cannot be the coordinator for our defense because it is tarnishing our team to the point of no return. BC Amplified. Till next time, and there will be a next time. Top guys, we are out. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Hopefully this is one of those games we can just forget and move on from real quick. I know the team's going to want to do that, but they cannot. Watch film. Watch this game. Watch it 6 times a day. Watch it somehow while you're sleeping. Understand everything that was done wrong and don't do it again. And if you're wondering what was done wrong, the entire game.